been in this situation? Now, you might be looking at that and thinking, what situation's that? So let me elaborate, okay? Now, to be fair, this isn't the most ideal example that I had in mind, but I went through item after item after item after item, and I happened not to come across any that had the exact scenario that I had in mind present in terms of competition. This is basically the closest I've got, but have you ever been in a situation, and I think it's a little bit more common than what people would make out, where you've got lots of sellers on a listing, and let's say they're all FBA, everyone's got decent stock levels and everyone's got more or less the same price, and if it does differ, maybe it's by just like a little bit, and they've all got fast delivery because obviously they're doing FBA. Now, if you throw in some of the factors, like the fact that they might all have the same positive feedback percentage, like their account health is pretty good, there's not really much in the way of late deliveries, like they've really took good care of their Amazon account. Okay, well, who wins the buy box? So we learn all this stuff about the buy box and what gets taken into account as to who wins it, right? But what happens if all that stuff is the same and everyone's done the things that they can to stand more of a chance of winning the buy box? What happens if a few people do that? Okay, now the answer is simple, but let's take a look at this little scenario right here. So we have, a number of sellers on this listing. If we say cut this list off somewhere around here at number 8, maybe number 6 or 8, somewhere between there, and we look at these sellers more so, we can see they're all FBA. We can see that they all have some decent stock levels. Obviously, these two have got a little bit less, but obviously they would have had more because I've already had a look at this listing and can see that these sellers have had the buy box. So obviously they've had the buy box for a time and they've made some sales, and their stock has gone down a bit more. But assuming we were looking at this, say, a couple of days ago, at most, I'm sure that their stock levels would have been looking very equal. Now, if we take a look at their reviews, we can see 92% positive feedback, 93%, 100%, 90%. So we're all in the same kind of window. Delivery, same estimated delivery date if you were to order from them. Okay, it's very, very, very similar pricing. Two prices are the same, and then we only have some differentiation by like 1 penny, 1 cent. Okay, so what happens here? So clearly they've all taken the right steps to stand more of a chance of winning the buy box, but in this case, what will actually happen is the buy box gets shared around. Okay, now what determines how it gets shared around? There isn't really anything, because they've all followed exactly what they need to follow to increase their chances of winning the buy box. That's just based on my assumption from what I can see here. To me, I can't really see any reason as to why someone would deserve the buy box any less than the other. If we're going to go really nitty gritty, then perhaps the slight difference in the positive feedback and the review amount may play a part, but I don't think that will be the major make or break as to what happens with someone's time with the buy box. So if you find yourself in this kind of situation and you don't have the buy box currently, and I would say the best thing to do is not to upset the balance too much, like not to drastically undercut this, because what might happen is you risk toppling a Jenga tower. Okay, so you know how you build in Jenga, if you take a brick out and you topple the tower, you lose. Basically all of the blocks are stacked nicely. What you don't want to do is upset the balance and undercut and take a brick out at the bottom and then have everything topple in on you, because what could happen is a number of these sellers might start then repricing against you, and then you end up in this locked battle at a slightly lower price, where then it takes a bit more effort and time to bump that price back up. It's slightly harder work because there's more people to compete against at that same kind of pricing. So if you drastically undercut something like this, then you risk that. So my advice would be to match the buy box in this case. in any instance, maybe even try like being a penny above or something like that. Which, if you're using the AI strategies, it would probably be doing something along those lines anyway, provided you're using a balanced or profit focused one. So Amazon will share the buy box round. Everyone will have an equal term with the buy box. Even more so if things are basically exactly the same, so there isn't even like a penny difference there. I would say that the time would be that bit more equal, and obviously the more people that are in that position, the more people there are to share the buy box around with. If we go take a look at the buy box possession rate,